Now on Denver 7 News at 7 a.m. on Local 3. Progress in Boulder as firefighters work to contain the NCAR fire.
You don't know for sure, that things are going your way.
We're talking to the residents breathing a sigh of relief as they return home.
Also, more protection against the coronavirus when Americans could have an option for a fourth shot.
And a history-making night at the Academy Awards. Who went home with an Oscar? And the latest on that slap heard round the world. That shocking moment.
Yes, a lot of shock and awe on Hollywood's biggest night. Among the historical moments as well. We'll break down those for you coming up shortly. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Nicole Brady. Meteorologist Lisa Hidalgo is here with another warm day on tap, Lisa.
It's beautiful out there right now. We do have a little bit more cloud cover. 53 degrees though right now in Denver. Keep in mind that's just about 6 degrees off from our normal high for the day that we would hit around 5 o'clock this afternoon. So we are going to be well above normal. Some near record-breaking highs today. Upper 40s and low 50s here early this morning. This afternoon, we're going to be at right around 80 degrees for a high, so even a few degrees warmer than yesterday. Upper 70s to near 80 here from Denver north to Fort Collins. Mid 70s near Castle Rock and Parker. 50s and 60s again for the mountains this afternoon. So it is warm. Now, unfortunately, we do have some high fire danger over the southeastern corner of the state. Relative humidity there dropping down below 10%. Now, the good news is we have a storm coming in. So winter weather advisories go into effect tonight right after these red flag warnings drop off. So we are going to see some snow and some rain here in town. We'll take a closer look at the timing of this next storm, Jason, coming up.
And that will bring some rain, obviously, and some slush to the roadways. And it could make it a little bit slick in spots, different than the snow, which just sits there. That we need some rain to really wash away some of the goop that accumulates over the winter time. And right now it can be a little bit slick when we first start to see that moisture. This is the drive on 270 past the refineries, and you can see it looks pretty standard for us. Same thing as you take a look at I-76 here across the Commerce City split. So this is that westbound side heading for I-25. Busy, as you can see down on the map, down towards 74th Avenue. So very typical stuff for us in here. 270, again, very typical stuff for us across Commerce City, and also pretty typical out to the east side of town. We're not seeing any big problems across downtown. DPS on spring break, as well as it's Cesar Chavez Day today. So those parking meters, you don't need to feed them here today.
Well, firefighters are making progress on the NCAR fire in Boulder. It started Saturday afternoon and burned about 5 miles from where the Marshall fire started in late December.
We have a map that shows the fire's perimeter here. This is south of the town of Boulder. Some good news this morning is that all evacuation orders have been lifted.
Denver 7's Christian Lopez joins us live from Boulder with an update this morning as we see daylight and see what progress has been made. Christian.
Yeah, we are getting a better look at that smoke this morning. We're going to go ahead and show you. You can see some of it out there in the distance, but it is definitely an improvement compared to what we saw while we were out here this weekend. Fire containment is now at 35%, and this fire has burned nearly 200 acres, and it forced thousands in Boulder to evacuate over the weekend, all while the Marshall fire is still so fresh in everyone's mind. Officials told us this time around, though, good preparation and planning did play an important role. And Boulder's incident commander told us that hundreds of firefighters from several different agencies have been coming together to battle this fire and protect all of the nearby homes. And while people were given the green light to go back into their neighborhoods, some do still have a sense of worry.
I'm thrilled, and I am really concerned about, what's happening to our planet and the degree and the frequency of these events is really frightening and gives us pause.
And as far as what caused the fire, that is still under investigation. And we do know that Boulder schools are open normally today, including CU Boulder. They actually had some evacuations over the weekend. And today firefighters will continue trying to gain full containment on this fire. And we are seeing some wind start to pick up, but we know that those temperatures are going to be warmer today. So that is something that they're definitely going to be keeping an eye on. We're live in Boulder this morning. I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
All right, thank you, Christian. Also in Boulder County, there is a town hall at 6:30 tonight in Superior for people impacted by the Marshall fire. Officials will give an update on the Wildfire Fund. You can attend in person, although it is limited to 70 people, so you can also participate virtually and register at the Community Foundation Boulder County page on Eventbrite. Boulder County will also hold a meeting tomorrow night at 6 with more details about the debris removal process.
More Coloradans are increasingly concerned about the threat posed by wildfires. 430 Colorado voters were interviewed for a poll conducted by Colorado College in the weeks after the Marshall Fire. Nearly 90% said they're concerned about more frequent and severe fires, with officials now characterizing fire season as being year-round. Close to 80% said they believe wildfires in the West are a bigger problem than they were 10 years ago.
A federal jury is awarding a dozen Denver protesters hurt in demonstrations over the death of George Floyd back in 2020 $14 million in damages. It also found Denver police officers violated the Constitution. Denver 7's Veronica Acosta joins us live this morning because, Veronica, we're getting a response today from the organization representing the officers.
We are, and that's the Denver Police Protection Association. We're expecting to get its response to those $14 million awarded to protesters who were injured in demonstrations back in 2020 today. So this organization represents Denver police officers. This was the outcome of the first excessive force and civil rights trial that came out of demonstrations over the death of George Floyd. Now, the trial itself lasted 3 weeks, and during that time, the jury heard about accusations of failure in leadership and coordination by police officers who responded to the protests. They also heard about injuries suffered by protesters at the hands of Denver officers and other nearby departments. Protesters were hit by pepper spray and less lethal ammunition like bean bags, which led to some of those injuries. And we did speak with one of those 12 plaintiffs who said she was pleased with the outcome.
I wonder if the city of Denver thought we were just going to roll over and take it. I suspect that they might have. I don't know. But we didn't. I'm so pleased and so thankful to the jury. So proud of my co-plaintiffs, so proud of our lawyers. The system got this one right today. So on we press.
Denver city officials released a statement after Friday's verdict came down. It said in part, quote, "We continue to evaluate our policies and training to ensure we're using our best practices identified by law enforcement throughout the country to better protect peaceful protesters while addressing those who are only there to engage in violence. We recognize that there is more work to be done." And as far as the DPPA goes, they are expected to give that statement around noon today. In Denver, I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
Thank you, Veronica. Americans over 50 could soon have an option to get a second COVID-19 booster shot. The FDA's Vaccine Advisory Committee is expected to consider it this week. New data from Israel shows that a fourth shot offers enhanced protection against severe illness. A fourth dose is currently available for anyone who says they need one because they are immunocompromised. The Denver Center for Performing Arts is ending its vaccination and mask policy for all indoor seated performances. Individual touring productions may have their own health and safety requirements, though. The DCPA waited until now to make the change because they're in between shows. Hamilton's last show was yesterday and Tootsie starts tomorrow.
Well, you're looking live at the Dolby Theater, where the 2022 Academy Awards are in the history books now, and boy, were they memorable.
A lot of people are still talking about it this morning. Morgan Norwood is in Hollywood recapping the night with a look at the tributes, the many shocking moments, and the epic performances.
For the 94th Academy Awards.
The Academy Awards making a triumphant return to Dolby Theater. For the first time in 3 years, the Oscars had hosts. And as promised, the all-female trio, Wanda Sykes, Regina Hall, and Amy Schumer, didn't hold back.
This year, the Academy hired 3 women to host because it's cheaper than hiring 1 man.
Beyonce kicking off the Oscars with the performance of King Richard's Be Alive.
It feels so good to be alive.
And what started as a joke,
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it,
ended in a moment that shocked the Dolby Theater. Will Smith slapping Chris Rock in the face after he made fun of Jada Pinkett Smith's hair loss.
Wow.
Later in the show, Will Smith returned to the stage to accept Best Actor for King Richard. In an emotional speech, he paid tribute to Richard Williams and issued an apology to the Academy, but he did not mention Chris Rock.
I want to apologize to the Academy. Hope the Academy invites me back. Thank you.
Up until then, the Oscars were uplifting and inspiring.
Troy Kotsur.
Troy Kotsur making history with his win for Best Supporting Actor as the first man who is deaf to win an Oscar. And Ariana DeBose, who became the first openly LGBTQ actor and first Afro-Latina to win Best Supporting Actress.
You see a openly queer woman of color and Afro-Latina who found her strength in life through art.
For Best Actress, Jessica Chastain, in her speech, taking aim at Florida's Don't Say Gay bill.
We're faced with discriminatory and bigoted legislation that is sweeping our country.
The Oscars ending on a high note with the award for Best Picture going to Coda.
Okay, Coda.
And Coda making history as the first streaming movie to win Best Picture. That's just one of the many firsts during Hollywood's biggest night. Morgan Norwood, ABC News, Hollywood.
Well, Colorado had a local connection to the Oscars. Derek Hodge is a Denver-based composer. He directed the music for this year's show. He also directed the orchestra for the Super Bowl pregame show. And he's worked with some of the biggest names in music, including Common, Kanye West, and Quincy Jones.
I can't remember any point in my life where I wasn't into music.
And just to watch the progression from like the hip hop shows, and he's always been in love with orchestra and actually like scoring films and documentaries, and to like come to this precipice of like the Oscars where it's like this world platform. It's been really amazing.
Hodge is also working on some music for the upcoming Grammy Awards. He composes most of his music from his home studio right here in Denver.
Pretty wild. There's a new scam making the rounds on social media, while you'll want to be careful on Instagram.
And Broncos GM George Payton is talking about those backyard practice sessions Russell Wilson has been hosting.